Then we saw him pick up the things that were down. He picked up the cake, and the rake, and the gown, and the milk, and the strings, and the books, and the dishes, and the fan, and the cup, and the ship, and the fish, and he put them all away. Then he said, "That is that," and then he was gone with the tip of his hat. Then our mother came in, and she said to us too, "Did you have any fun? Tell me, what did you do?" And Sally and I did not know what to say. Should we tell her the things that went on that day? Should we tell her about it? Now what should we do? Well, what would you do if your mother asked you? All right, son, that's the third book I've read to you. That means it's time to go to bed.
Wow, Dad, that was a great story. What was that book called again?
Well, it's called The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss.
Oh, yeah, Dad, I remember that. I think that's the cat that lives in my closet. He calls me racist for reading his books all the time.
Son, do we really have to go over this again? There are no politicians like Bernie Sanders living in your closet, and there are no large cats living in your closet calling you racist either. I promise. It is all a part of your imagination.
Okay, Dad, I guess you're right. Thanks for making me feel safe.
Okay, let's get these lights off. Good night, son.
Good night, Dad.
Stop it. Stop it. Oh, yes, you will. Do not tell your father about our thrills. Read my books and you will see that you are racist, just like me. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 60th episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. So, welcome to Woktopia. Population, a bunch of crazy people that are absolutely driving me crazy. These people are deciding that it is time to cancel everything and anything because it is racist. Now, I know what you're thinking. Kyle, didn't you just talk about this last week? And didn't you give us a whole list of things that the left finds racist? Yes, I did. But apparently, people are finding more things to find racist. So it seems to me that last week's episode was just the tip of the woke iceberg when it comes to saying that everything is racist and must be changed or eliminated immediately. This woke culture is so stupid. And seriously, we are living in a time period where anything can be deemed as racist. The American left has literally fallen into a crazy town called Woktopia, and they are dragging the rest of the country down with them. And it is some very, very scary stuff. We are run by a bunch of crazy people with crazy ideas that want to control you with their wokeism. This will continue to happen until every book, every movie, every idea is banned due to hate speech. This stupidness started this week, as Tuesday was National Read Across America Day, which was started to help kids to start reading more, and also to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Seuss. So, before this day, Joe Biden released a statement talking about this day. And usually the president mentions Dr. Seuss because, of course, it is his birthday. For example, Obama wrote, "March 2nd is also the birthday of one of America's revered wordsmiths, Dr. Seuss. Used his incredible talent to instill in his most impersonal readers universal values we all hold dear." Obama also went on to talk about other things that Dr. Seuss did for America. So Joe Biden did the exact same thing, except his message didn't even mention the birthday boy. And many people were wondering why. So they decided to ask, I'll circle back around to that, Jen Psaki, to help explain why Dr. Seuss was not listed at all. Here's the question, along with the answer.
It's maybe the only day that you can bring up Dr. Seuss in every theater. It is National Read Across America Day. It's also Dr. Seuss's birthday. Both former presidents, Obama and Trump, mentioned Dr. Seuss in their Read Across America Day proclamations, but President Biden did not. Why not?
Well, first, the proclamation was written by the Department of Education, and you could certainly speak to them about more specifics about the drafting of it. But Read Across America Day, which, as you're right, has not existed forever, has only been around for a short period of time, elevates and celebrates a love of reading among our nation's youngest leaders. And the day is also a chance to celebrate diverse authors whose work and lived experience reflect the diversity of our country. And that's certainly what they attempted to do or hope to do this year. And as we celebrate the love of reading and uplift diverse and representative authors, it is especially important that we ensure all children can see themselves represented and celebrated in the books that they read.
So basically, she punted the question and talked about diversity and all that stuff. There was no clear answer on why Dr. Seuss was taken out of this. However, there was something deeper and darker going on, as apparently a small group of people were offended by Dr. Seuss's books. So to stop this, they decided to ban some of his books, as the family of Dr. Seuss decided that 6 books would be yanked from publication, meaning that they will never ever be made again. Ever. This was due to concerns of racist imagery that was shown in some of the books that Dr. Seuss wrote. Along with this, a February 2019 study called The Cat is Out of the Bag claimed that there was Orientalism, which is anti-Asian, anti-blackness, and white supremacy in Dr. Seuss's children's books. My question is simply this. Dr. Seuss was born 117 years ago. He is the second highest paid dead person behind Michael Jackson. And now we are just finding out like magic that he was a terrible, racist person. I've read his books. You've probably read his books. Heck, there's even a video of Michelle Obama displaying white supremacy and reading it to a group of children on National Read Across America Day. Kamala Harris, the current VP, even praised him in the past, and now we have to get rid of his work. We can clearly see that these people are stupid with wokeness. Along with this, when you were a kid and you read these different books, did you ever become radicalized? If you read If I Ran a Zoo, did you decide that you wanted to throw an Asian person in a cage? Or after you read the books, did you think that you were more superior because you were white? No. And the children that are reading these books today are probably thinking the exact same thing that you are. This is what we like to call the innocence of children. They don't care about race. They probably just like the way that the words rhyme, or how there are bright, colorful pictures with all different kinds of weird characters. We also must understand something that is very, very important. Dr. Seuss lived in a different era. You can't expect him or anyone else at that time to understand today's woke left ideological language. It's absolutely impossible. If we go back in time, we understand that sometimes in different eras, people have different ideas that today may seem controversial. An example of this controversial thinking came during the lifetime of Dr. Seuss. As in 1942, the United States government was throwing people of Japanese descent into camps just because we were at war with Japan. And people followed along with this. People liked this idea. They said it was a great thing. However, instead of canceling Roosevelt, which I kind of wish they would, we learned from the past and we said, hey, let's never ever do that again. What if we did this with Dr. Seuss books? And it does look like some people are doing that, as they are using the Dr. Seuss books as a way to teach their children. As while I was trying to find these racist images in Dr. Seuss books, I ran across an article where a father was reading these different books to his daughter, and he was explaining the pictures to her. In the article, the father reaches this page, which depicts a stereotypical Chinese man, and the text from Dr. Seuss reads, "A Chinese man who eats with sticks." The conversation between father and daughter goes like this. Dad, do you think all Chinese people eat with sticks? Daughter, yeah. Dad, well, some use spoons and forks like we do, and those sticks have a name. Do you know what they are called? Daughter, yes. Well, no. Dad, they are called chopsticks. There is a long tradition of using them for meals in China. Daughter, I know how to use chopsticks. Keep reading, Daddy. With this, the daughter was able to learn about a different culture, and the girl is able to understand that this is a stereotypical photo of a Chinese person. Also, fun fact, the girl didn't point to the picture and say, hey Dad, that picture's racist. It was just the dad that brought it up. Just saying. The point that I'm trying to make here is very, very simple. Instead of calling Dr. Seuss a terrible racist person that needs to be canceled, what if instead we learn from both his writings and his pictures with the understanding that he was born in a different era, an era that was full of stereotypes and wars, which created even more stereotypes. Today, we can understand that these stereotypes are wrong, but are also a great way of understanding the past. For a personal example, I recently started working as a parapro at a local school. I teach a bunch of third graders and it's been a pretty good time. So we had this moment where we were independently reading. Everyone was quiet until a little girl came up to me with an open book over her chest, trying to cover up the image. She said to me, "Mr. Dockery, there is a really bad symbol in my book, and I don't like it." I wondered what it was and asked her to show it to me. And it was a book about the Olympic runner named Jesse Owens. And when she flipped it around, I saw that there was a swastika flag in the background. I explained to her the story of how Jesse Owens had to run a race in Nazi Germany, and that moment was a very, very important moment in his story, as he had to run in a country that literally hated him, but he did it anyway. It got me thinking, what if the publisher of that book said there is no way that we are ever going to add a swastika into our book? Then parents and teachers wouldn't be able to teach about the past and what happened in Jesse Owens' life. The ideas of that era would be erased from history, and that is definitely not what we want. We are supposed to learn from history, so then we don't repeat it. This is why I believe that all books have a chance for learning, whether it is from the words of the book or even the pictures of the book. The sad reality is that this is only the beginning, and it makes us wonder what will be canceled next. Well, of course, more children's books are on the docket to be canceled, as there may be a possibility that another Dr. Seuss book is on the chopping block. As according to the LA Times, The Cat in the Hat, one of Dr. Seuss's most popular books, has received criticism too, but will continue to be published, for now. I'll give the book at least 2 years, so make sure to buy your copy now. I thought if anything Cat in the Hat would be banned, it would be the live-action version of The Cat in the Hat featuring Michael Myers. That movie is just super duper weird.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
Along with that, back in 2007, they wanted to get rid of Babar the elephant because the books celebrated colonialism because of how the title character leaves the jungle and later returns to civilize his fellow animals. Also, there have been calls to ban Curious George as well, as critics have faulted the Curious George books for their premise of a white man bringing home a monkey from Africa. I mean, it is just absolutely ridiculous and stupid that they want to get rid of these different fantasy worlds because apparently an elephant can't live in the city, a cat can't wear a hat, and a white man can't own a monkey as a pet. And the issue is that it's not just the Dr. Seuss family that is deciding to ban these books, but also different retailers, like Amazon and eBay, that are going to start to remove these different books because apparently they are terrible and racist. Now, Amazon isn't just banning children's books, but there are other books that are being banned as well. But we will have to talk about those later because there's a situation that is happening at Amazon that is literally one of my favorite stories of the week, and I could not leave this out of the episode. So if you're just listening to this video and you're not actually paying attention to the actual video on YouTube, then make sure that you look at the video. And I want you to look at this image right here. Take a good long look. Now, does this new Amazon logo look like anyone to you? Maybe someone of historical importance? Maybe a dictator? Yes, that's right. There were people that were accusing Amazon of creating a logo that looked like Evil Mustache Man.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Seriously, I swear to you that this is 100% real, and it is also 100% stupid. I mean, it doesn't even look like Evil Mustache Man, and if you think that it does, then you think a lot about Evil Mustache Man. However, in this woke world that we live in, everything can be seen as racist. Even a piece of tape, and the Amazon logo that is smiling. This is the problem with this whole wokeness. If the company decided that they weren't going to change this logo at all because people were being stupid and calling a piece of tape and a smiley face evil mustache man, then this woke mob could have canceled Amazon for racism over a piece of tape. So to make sure that everything was clear and Twitter didn't have a whole big panic attack, Amazon changed the logo so the piece of tape didn't look as ripped. Or at least less like hair, I guess. Phew. Thank goodness they did that. We can finally put down our pitchforks. I mean, seriously, I was cracking up when I first heard this story. And it just goes to show that these different big corporations have to follow along with this woke mob thinking. So if this woke mob comes out and says, hey, you must take off those Dr. Seuss books, you can guarantee in a heartbeat that they would. And this is what happened with eBay, an online auction site. As after the banning of these books was called for, the bidding wars for one of these 6 books went absolutely sky high, as the Cat Quizzler was being sold at a price of $630, along with another bid going at $510. And the most expensive one book came from On Beyond the Zebra, which was bidded at $760. However, the whole collection of all 6 of these banned books was going for a total of $1,110. Wow. People really want these books. However, eBay put a stop to this, as this image started to pop up on people that were listing these books. It reads, "We had to remove your listing because it didn't follow our offensive material policy. Listings that promote or glorify hatred, violence, or discrimination are not allowed." Yes, there's clearly nothing more violent and terrible than Dr. Seuss, who once again we just learned is racist. Also on eBay, you can pick up your own copy of Mein Kampf, Evil Mustache Man's first book. I bet that book doesn't glorify hatred, violence, or discrimination at all. This corporation is clearly just a bunch of hypocrites. They don't follow their own rules. Going back to Amazon, they have a similar policy as eBay that will soon get rid of Dr. Seuss and other books, as their new policy claims that they won't sell certain content, including content that we determine is hate speech, or other material we deem inappropriate or offensive. This new rule has already taken its first victim, as a book called When Harry Became Sally, responding to the transgender movement, was removed from its main webpage store, its Kindle servers, and its audiobook lineup without any explanation, even as the book had been available on Amazon for 3 whole years, with no apparent controversy. What the ban of this book is telling us is that we are not allowed to express different opinions anymore, or these opinions should be banned. It was also reported that if you bought this book on Amazon and had it on your Kindle or something else, that Amazon would still delete it. So you can't have it anywhere at all unless you bought the physical copy. So my mission for you is to go buy physical copies of books right now, because this is just the beginning. As sadly in the future, I am predicting that Amazon and other big companies like eBay that we just talked about will ban more and more books that go against the woke left narrative. And this right here is a very, very slippery slope for these companies and the estate of Dr. Seuss. As with Dr. Seuss, it started with 6 books. Well, in the future, 6 may turn to 7, which will turn to 8, and then that will continue until the legacy of Dr. Seuss is gone. For Amazon, they may say, hey, it was only just 1 book that we banned, and there will be no more. However, I can assure you that there will be more books that will be deemed offensive by the left or these big corporations, and they will be banned, even if they aren't offensive at all. What these woke people are trying to do is change culture by force, and also make sure that there are no other opinions out there except their own. This is why I believe that we are living in a time period where virtual book burning is taking place. And this should be unacceptable to anyone. They burned books in Germany during World War II, and they also burned books in the Soviet Union. The only difference is that they burned a lot more, and we are only at the beginning. In the end, I hope that these virtual book burnings don't continue, and that we will be able to enjoy books that may have different opinions, and even some children's books. I hope that you understand that banning books is wrong, and it is a terrible idea that leads to a totalitarian mob that is in control of us. We, as the American people, need to understand that we cannot be controlled by this woke mob, and we must stand up to them and make sure that they don't cancel anything else. We can't let them convince us that Dr. Seuss or other books are offensive and need to be banned, because they will try to guilt us into believing something that isn't true. That's what this mob does. It is interesting because right now I'm reading a book called Leftism, From de Sade and Marx to Hitler and Marcuse. The book was written in the 50s, and I still read this book and think, wow, we are going through the same exact thing. One quote that I recently came across said, "Demolition delights all leftists, fills them with diabolical glee." This is what the left is trying to do right now. Cause destruction to the culture. Turn us all into woke robots that will agree with everything they say and whatever they want. And they are doing this by attacking children's books and books that go against their own opinions. It's time to stop banning books. And please, don't fall for the stupid. And also, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.